Hello and welcome to Ames in Focus, the podcast that brings you closer to the people, projects, and occasional orange cone shaping life in our city. I'm Bill Gebhart with Communications and Outreach at the City of Ames. Now, before we dive into today's topic, I've got a couple of quick community updates for you. Because what's better than staying informed? Staying informed and having somewhere to be. First up, this Wednesday, tomorrow, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Ames Public Library, there's a homelessness action plan update. If you're interested in what's been happening locally on this important topic, it's a great chance to hear updates and learn more about the work underway. Then later that same day, yes, we're giving you a full Wednesday itinerary. Join us for our very first Neighborhood Connections road trip. That's happening from 4 to 6 p.m. at Moore Memorial Park. Come meet your neighbors, connect with city staff, and enjoy a relaxed afternoon. I'll be there too, so feel free to stop by and say hello. All right, now that your Wednesday plans are officially set, let's talk about another sure sign of the season. The weather's warming up and days are getting longer, and the orange cones have returned from wherever they winter. That's right, construction season is officially here in Ames. Joining us once again as someone who knows exactly what's happening and why is Mindy Bryngelson, Municipal Engineer for the City of Ames. Mindy, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's good to be here.
So it is definitely great to have you back. So for listeners who may not have caught your previous episode, which was almost a year ago now, can you give us a quick refresher on your role and what you do for the city?
Sure. So I am the municipal engineer in the engineering division of Public Works, and we oversee the rehabilitation and reconstruction of public infrastructure within the right-of-way, which includes streets, water distribution, sanitary sewer collection, storm sewer collection, and our waterways.
And so since I said at the top of the show we're going to be talking about construction and names, you are the expert that we need to be talking to.
I think so.
Okay, good. Good. That's great, because I don't know the answers. So let's get into it. What does this construction season look like in Ames in 2026? Can you give us kind of the big picture overview?
Yeah, so construction will be happening all around the community, and some streets that were under construction last year will continue to be under construction this year. And then we will also add some more. And some of these have kind of already started, and I can get into some specifics of those as we get along.
Absolutely. So what are those the high impact area projects that we should be aware of? Either the ones that are continuing from last year or the ones that are getting started?
Sure. So, first and foremost, we are doing our second phase of South 16th Street from University Boulevard to about the Vet Med entrances. So that section that we kind of left off last year in August before the first football game started, we kind of left it as 2 lanes. So that will now be converted to the 4-lane with the trail on both sides.
And that one's already started, right? They're down there working. I drive past it a lot.
It is. It has started. So, we're well underway, and the goal there is to be all wrapped up by the time we have our first home football game.
Right. So we're going between football seasons for South 16th, which makes a lot of sense because that's right by the stadium.
Yes. And plus, when getting some of these projects started and kind of wrapped up by August helps some of those newcomers to town, some of the new students that aren't as familiar. I guess at this point in the spring, we kind of feel like they know where they're going. Yeah. And we can kind of start a little earlier.
Right. So we can get all the new people that'll be coming into Iowa State or anywhere else. They can know where they're going.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some other projects?
Another one is Highland Avenue. So we're doing our next phase of Highland Avenue. This year, it is not completely closed. There is 1 lane open, and it is signalized for which direction you can go. That signal is on a timer, so you should expect delays if you go that way, but you can get through. It's should be wrapped up again around August, but please have some patience. And honestly, if you can avoid the area, I would still encourage that.
If you can go around it, it's best to go around it. But that's also one that continued from last year, right? Because I remember last year, Highland was closed, actually. This time it's not.
Correct.
Just 1 lane with a time signal.
Yes, 1 lane in each direction, or I shouldn't say in each direction, 1 lane for both directions.
Yes.
And you'll take turns.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So what else is on the docket for this season?
And just one other small carryover. This is just some striping, but we will finish up 6th Street from Brook Ridge Avenue to Northwestern. There's just a little bit of striping that needs to be done there, and we'll get that one wrapped up. Another big one to make you aware of is Bloomington Road from G.W. Carver to Eisenhower Avenue. Avenue. That project is actually a mill and overlay. There are some areas where we will be doing some kind of spot repairs to underground utilities. There will be times when the intersection with Bloomington and Stang is closed on one side or another, so you'll have to kind of take that into account, especially if you're trying to reach any of those businesses on the north side of Bloomington. When I talk about mill and overlay, that just means we take off the first couple inches of pavement, and you can still drive on that. And then, when that's off,
right.
And then you put back a new fresh top coat. So that's just something to kind of extend the life of that roadway for another 10, 15 years before we need to completely reconstruct it. So there will be some minor delays. You know, the railroad always throws in a little bit of a challenge for us. And we've been talking through with the contractors about staging. Some of that work will happen even potentially in the evening. And the project on Bloomington Road will start today.
Will it close?
It will not close completely. There will always be a lane open in each direction, but the intersection might have where you're not able to turn or go north or maybe even south.
Right, depending on when they're working on that portion of it.
Yes, and then along with that project, we'll be removing and replacing the shared use path on the south side from Stang to Eisenhower.
Okay. So getting an all new shared use path as well.
Yes, the current path in that area is asphalt, so we'll be replacing that with concrete.
Okay.
That has a tendency not to move quite as much. If you see that asphalt in there, it undulates a little bit, and the new one will be nice and smooth.
Okay. Wow, those are all big projects. Are there some other ones going on?
Oh, yes.
Of course, it wouldn't be construction season if we were done already,
we
right?
have to touch more areas of town.
Absolutely, we do.
So another big one that I'll point out is kind of in that Highland area. We're going to be starting on Campus Avenue. So Campus is just one block further west than Highland, and we're going to be working from Lincoln Way all the way to Oakland Street. However, we have decided that this will be a 2-year project, so we'll do one block at a time. And I believe we will do the south block first. So from Lincoln Way up to West Street first. For this summer, and then, like I said, carry it over to next summer. And the reason for that is what I was talking about earlier, kind of getting that wrapped up in that end of July, beginning August timeframe where you have a lot of students moving in, moving out. We all know that the rentals here in Ames ends July 31st and starts August 1st. And in those areas that have a lot of apartments, it gets a little confusing for people. So we kind of want to be out of the way.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan, but still getting the work done, but being out of the way when that traffic might be the highest.
Yes. And we do have a little bit of underground work with that project, some spot repairs on sanitary, a little bit of water main work, things of that nature, storm sewer work as well. Another one kind of around campus is Sunset Drive. We are removing and replacing that from Ash Avenue to Beach Avenue. That also will be a 2-year time frame.
Okay.
We've decided we are going to do the west portion first. So I can't recall where we'll stop that kind of midpoint, but then on to Beach. So that section will be completely removed and replaced. There's a lot of storm sewer work with that one. So you'll want to avoid the area.
Absolutely.
For that one as well. And then moving on, downtown, we have Clark Avenue from 9th to 13th Street. That will be a completely removal replacement project as well. Quite a bit of underground work with that. There's water main in there. Again, sanitary sewer spot repair, and then some storm sewer work to kind of improve the efficiency of the storm sewer in that area.
And so when we're talking about these more full repairs with sanitary, are the roads closed then during the time?
Yep, the road will be closed. We'll do it in phases. We try to minimize the amount of walking residents who live in that area will have to do during the construction of their portion. And, downtown in Clark, it's nice because there's some alley access that kind of helps with some of that. In other areas, they don't have all those options. But we always do take that into account when we close the roadway.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on from there, we have Ferndale Avenue from 20th Street to 24th Street. and Furman Drive, again, complete removal and replacement.
Okay.
A lot of water main
Yep.
work, sanitary sewer spot repair, storm sewer work, so the underground, lots going on in that neighborhood. Again, it'll be phased to help those homeowners limit the amount of walking they have to do from, during that time period when they have no access to their home.
To their front door anyway, right? Yeah.
Correct, yes. The sidewalks will remain open, I should
Yep,
say that.
yep.
There might be some small patches, especially if we have to go in and connect to some utilities in those areas, but for the most part, they'll always have that sidewalk access
Okay.
to their homes. And then from there, we'll talk about our asphalt streets. These have not been bid yet.
Okay.
So there's a chance that we're not going to get to all of these this year. We might have to carry over. We kind of got a little delayed, kind of starting off design, and then we kind of held up a little bit to have some sidewalk discussions with council here the last month or so.
And so what you're saying is these ones that we're about to talk about Public Works would like to get these done. You as a municipal engineer would like to get these done, but since we're still working on bidding, we might see some of them some of them might have to come next year.
Correct. And honestly, that we're a little late than what we'd like to be during the bidding kind of season.
To get started,
a lot of these contractors kind of have their summer schedules filled up. So being realistic about this, we might not be seeing anything until the fall, and then they work into next year.
Okay.
But there's several streets on here. So we have some that are kind of closer to campus, and that's Hillcrest Avenue and Ellis Street. And again, all of these that I'm going to talk about here are complete removal and replacement.
Okay.
With underground utilities too.
Yeah.
And then out in West Ames, we have Kentucky Avenue, Illinois Avenue, Indiana Avenue, Oklahoma Drive, and Delaware Avenue from North Dakota Avenue to Ontario Street. So there's quite a few of them in there.
Absolutely.
They're not all going to happen at once. Most likely it'll be one at a time. But that is kind of yet to be seen because we don't necessarily dictate those schedules. We let the contractors kind of work through that with us.
Absolutely.
So that is those main kind of street projects. Oh, whoops. I take that back. I got one more to mention.
Okay.
This one goes along with our new resource recovery campus.
Oh, yeah.
So we will be paving Frail Drive from Southeast 5th Street to about 600 feet south of East Lincoln Way. It'll be happening concurrently with that site project, so we'll have a nice paved roadway all the way to the facility once it's all done.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be good too, especially getting into the new resource recovery and recycling campus. They're going to have the garbage trucks will be going down that direction. So we need to make sure we have a road for them to go that direction.
Right. Right now it's gravel and it's just, it's not ideal for that. Yeah.
Nope.
And then we will be replacing, or I shouldn't say replacing, placing new sidewalk all the way to the facility from Lincoln Way.
Okay.
So that'll be nice for those who want to maybe bike to the facility to drop off recycling or, anything
Absolutely.
of that nature.
Yep. I think that's great.
Yeah, and then I will mention too that we are working on our South 4th Street PED Bridge. You've probably seen some of that work going on. That started really early spring, some tree removal. We actually have the paths already in.
Okay.
So we're just waiting. There's quite a bit of a lead time on those prefabricated bridges. So the bridges come in about 6 pieces. It's assembled then on site and kind of lifted with the crane and dropped on some footings that we'll have installed. So we're waiting for that bridge to arrive, and we probably think that will show up here and be a winter and a spring 2027 placement.
Okay.
We don't know until, we have a little more idea on when that bridge will be ready, but there's a potential with that we'll have to have some lane closures just to give them room to work
and to have the crane and do all that stuff.
And all that stuff. So potentially that could have a few little interruptions here later this year, early next year. And we're still working on our intelligent transportation system, the ITS.
Yeah.
We're on our 4th of our 5 stages, primarily in the west side of town, but that does include the campus area. So you might have a very few, lane closures for those, for that fiber work that's being done. But it'll be pretty minimal, and it's primarily on arterial roads.
Right.
And the other street project that will be impacting travelers is we are putting in a new signal. We're replacing the signal at South Duff and South 3rd. So there will be some lane closures, and some of that work will happen at night. So hopefully lessening the impact on the commute. So those are our primary road projects, but we do have a couple others that you might see. For one, we're finishing up, fingers crossed, Mother Nature works with us here, but we're finishing up Iowa Creek between 6th Street and 13th Street.
And that has been a pretty big project.
It has been a project. We did literally move the creek towards Brookside Park. And then Mother Nature decided to, come in and give us some challenges a couple times now. So we have a little rework to do, but hopefully over the next, 8 weeks or so, we'll start seeing that seeding going in. It's all native seeding. We're putting in shrubs and trees, all native. All of that will be established here, hopefully yet this May, June time frame. And then we'll come back in the fall and seed on the park side where we're putting in these cool season grasses that will be mowed. So that they have different times during the year that you can plant that. We call that the seeding window.
Yeah.
So we're going to miss the cool season grass seeding window because it's the end of May. So we'll finish it up in the fall.
And so with that, even though we're finishing up with that seeding in the fall, will the fences come down? Will that part of the park be open, or will it stay closed through the process?
Yeah, we will. So once the contractor moves out their equipment and kind of has a substantial completion, we call that, then those fences will come down. Right now, they still have the fences up, and we ask people to stay out of that area because it is still technically under their control and their liability for the most part. So they want to keep people out just to keep everybody safe. So yes, that project hopefully wrapping up here pretty soon. We have another small project that you might not even notice, but it's over in Ennis Grove. Again, that's a stormwater kind of repairing a storm sewer outlet in that area, kind of fixing some erosion. It's pretty small. And another project that we hope to bid yet this year is repair to Whirly Creek, which is would be basically west of University, back kind of by the park back there. So that there's some areas of severe erosion, very similar to what we've seen on Iowa Creek. So we're going to go in there, kind of pull the slopes back where we can, stabilize that with riprap. We have some sanitary sewer back in there, and we want to protect that infrastructure. So that's where you'll be seeing some work on that project. Most of that is occurring on city property and on Iowa State property.
So that seems like, there definitely are a lot of projects going on this year, just like there are every year, right? That's just, it's a great list. A long list that you have, but it's stuff that we definitely want to make sure we're working on and getting done. So one question that we get all the time, and I'm sure I asked this to you last year, but I'm going to ask it again. So why does so much of this work happen during the summer, during this time period?
Yeah, so the weather is the biggest reason why we do things during the spring, summer, and fall. Concrete and asphalt, you cannot put that down in cold temperatures. There are some projects that we continue through the winter. And then, so when we put in sanitary sewer, like brand new sanitary sewer, or even bore in some water main, we do that below the frost line. So that work can happen through the winter. But the street projects, the ones that everybody is really impacted with their commute to work or home or all the other things that go on in life, those have to happen during the warmer temperatures.
And so, if it's too cold, we can't be pouring concrete or anything like that because it won't set up the way we need to for the longevity of it all.
Correct.
Okay, so another question we get a lot, especially on social media, and I think I know the answer to this, but since you're the expert, I'm gonna let you help me out with this. Is why do we do so many projects at the same time? Why don't we just do one, then finish one, do one, then finish another, so that we are being more efficient, essentially, is what the question leads to, even though that's not the case.
So we have several different programs in the city. So we focus on arterial, and then we'll focus on more local streets, which a lot of times we'll call that our concrete and asphalt programs, our neighborhood curb or seal coat. Those are kind of more focused on local areas. And then we have our collectors. So we kind of, based on the different road classifications, we have different programs. we put all those out in late winter or early spring so that we can hit ideal bidding windows for our contractors because they're kind of filling up their schedules for the next year. So a lot of times the scheduling of all of it, like I said, we're trying to hit where we can get ideal pricing for those so that we're really cognizant of our taxpayer dollars. The schedules are typically kind of set by what fits into those contractor schedules. So this year we split out our concrete projects as 3 separate bids to try to kind of split up our contractor pool so that the work could happen concurrently with different construction companies at the same time. And ironically, because of how things are bid and we accept the low bid, it ended up all being the same prime contractor. However, on their team, they are using 3 different underground crews. So that's gonna let those all happen concurrently. But yeah, our biggest concern was like, let's split these up. That way we can get people going at the same time. But it just doesn't always end that way when you have to follow the public bid law. So these things, timing-wise, they can happen all at once. We do try to think about where we're at and try not to have the same, like multiple streets in one area going all at once because it does kind of impact such a large footprint and the residents. So like I was saying with the asphalt, those streets are next to each other. You're probably going to see that kind of one at a time.
Right, just so that it's not impacting the entire neighborhood for the entire amount of time.
Right. If you think about all those vehicles parking in the other areas, and it's just even more cars that are typically in driveways that are out in the street. And
then I think another thing to remember, and you were talking about it when you were talking about that bid window, but all these different programs like the concrete program versus the asphalt program, those are typically going out to different contractors. And so just because we have this many asphalt streets going shouldn't impact the concrete street going. They can work at the same time. And I know you were mentioning you were trying to do that with the concrete bidding this time. It just didn't necessarily work out that way.
Yeah. Yes, and they sometimes might use the same subcontractors, so we have a certain contracting pool, here locally. And sometimes if you get a larger project, you bring in some more, kind of out of town. Of course, we want to be supporting our local contractors as well. But so, sometimes those things just, we can't necessarily control it. And then also Mother Nature too, as I mentioned before, she has a tendency to have her own ideas on what we get accomplished.
She always does. She always does. So, and then communication really is a big piece of this. So what are the best ways for residents to stay informed about whether it's closures, detours, other project updates, things like that?
Yeah, great question. So on our website, and the City of Ames website, under Public Works, you'll see a construction map. So we also have a construction map and a design map. That's something that's kind of new. So the design is what we're getting ready to start thinking about and planning for next year.
Okay.
So that way we're kind of putting it out ahead of time so people aren't surprised when they get those letters in the mail saying, you'll see some flags in your area because we're surveying for this project. So we're trying to, put some things right out there. But for construction-wise, yes, go to our website. You can see all the maps. Now, the stakeholders that are immediately in that area, you should have been invited to public meetings, informational meetings. You may have had one-on-ones with some of our staff or our design consultant. We work closely with the people in that area and try to keep them informed and make sure we understand any challenges they may have mobility-wise or anything that we could accommodate during construction. So the immediate residents are usually the ones who are individually invited to these meetings, but obviously public meeting is open to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that stuff is on our website. Another thing that we've started that's kind of new is we are trying to feed information into some of your typical navigation type maps. So you might be driving along and let's say you've got something plugged in, especially somebody from out of town coming to an event here at Iowa State or something on campus. If they've got it plugged into their Waze or, Apple Maps, Google Maps, they should be seeing information about detours on those now.
Oh, that's great. So, and is that a new thing that you guys have started?
Yeah, that's new. We just started it this spring. And everything that we check in on it occasionally, and everything looks like it's working as it should. But yeah, kind of telling when we're going to have either a lane closed or a total road closure, and then it will help reroute you.
And then, so the best way for people that aren't living specifically in the neighborhood where construction is happening is to just go to the website, whether that's on the public works page, so it's cityofames.org, whether it's on the public works page or there's a button right on our front page that's called construction updates. They should be able to click, which would take you to the page you were talking about. And then we also post them on social media as often as we can.
Yes. And, things kind of move. Sometimes we'll say we're going to close or have some water main work going on and things are going to happen at this time. And the best way to know all of that is social media.
Yeah.
We put that out there as soon as we can. And
and even then, I know the social media posts, because I post a lot of them, also say weather dependent.
Yes.
Because if it starts raining, it just means something might not happen.
That's right.
So, okay. So just being honest, construction can test a lot of people's patience, right?
Yes.
So what would you say to residents that are navigating all of this summer?
Yes. So, be aware of kind of the route you want to take. And if something's going on, if you can take an alternate route, I would encourage you to do so. We have to think about those construction workers and our city staff that's their job site. I mean, that's their workplace. Be careful in the construction zones. And the more we can kind of reduce the traffic in the area, the better for them. Try to find alternative routes. And yes, please just be patient. We're doing our best.
Absolutely. And we are always trying to do our best to get these roadways the way that we want them. But I think that's great advice. Whether you're paying attention to social media and you know that the way that you want to go is going to be closed or blocked or have some sort of construction on it, finding a different way to go. Or like myself, sometimes I don't pay attention. And then the first time I drive by construction, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home a different way than I came because that's what I want to do. So,
right. Yes. If you can, try to avoid the area.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like the community to know about construction in Ames for this season?
Like I said, look at some alternative routes. Please be patient. If you have questions, reach out. Our information is on the website. You're welcome to reach out at any time. And also, if you have something that's, a concern, you can also use your Ames on the Go app and submit that. And our staff make sure it gets to the appropriate person. That's basically it.
And make sure to check out cityofames.org with that construction updates button so that you can go and see what's going on. So, okay, Mindy, before we let you go, the second season, which is different than the last time you were here, we've started by ending with some rapid fire questions just for fun.
Okay.
You want to play the game?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Okay, so first off, coffee, tea, energy drink, how do you get your caffeine?
Coffee, and probably more specifically, a latte.
A latte, okay.
Got to have all that stuff in there.
A latte of coffee. Oh, that's a bad dad pun. Okay, never mind. I might have to cut that, but maybe I won't. Who knows?
Leave it.
Okay. So what is your favorite season, besides construction season, of course?
Of course. Honestly, I have to say summer is my favorite season. I love to be outside, love to go golfing, working in my yard, playing with flowers. It's got to be summer.
Summer's a good one. Summer. Okay, what is your dream road trip destination?
Okay, well, let's see.
You got to drive there wherever it is.
Right. So it's got to be fairly close because if it's too far away, I'm going to have to fly. But if I'm driving, I will, I already mentioned I love to go golfing, and there's one place that I would really like to go here recently. We just haven't put it on the books yet, but I would love to go down to Hollister, Missouri to Paynes Valley Golf Course. So that's on my bucket list.
Did you know that's where I came from before I came to Ames?
No.
Because I was in Branson and Hollister.
Oh my goodness.
So I have been there, and you should go.
I totally want to go.
Okay. Last one. What's one word that you would use to describe construction season in Ames?
Patience.
Patience. It's what we all need during this season, right?
Yes.
Well, Mindy, thank you so much for joining us again and helping us to keep informed about what's happening around town. We appreciate the work you and your team do to keep Ames moving forward.
Thanks, Bill.
And thank you to our listeners for spending time with us on Ames in Focus. If you see cones, crews, or closures out there, remember it's all part of building a better Ames. For updates on projects, detours, and timelines, visit cityofames.org. And be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to Ames in Focus so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. Drive safe, stay patient, and we'll see you next time.
Ames in Focus is a City of Ames podcast.